Welcome to Live, Let Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Micah and Steve.
Hello, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Live, Let Thrive. And this is episode 310 of your favorite short-term, mid-term, long-term rental podcast in the world, coming at you from Fort Worth, Texas. I am your host, Stevie Stacks. We're going to have some fun today, guys. We're going to talk about a lot of things. I don't know if I want to go through all of them on the introduction to the show, but thank you all for continuing to listen and support Live, Let Thrive after all these years. It's been a fun ride, and I just love doing this thing, and I want to keep doing it. So I'm gonna keep doing it, and y'all want to listen? Hey, that's cool too. So let's jump into it. So what I was gonna start off with was a crazy situation. Um, so I have this arbitrage. It's a house in Richardson, right? It's a 3 bedroom. And now, see, that's what's good about this show, because I'm thinking out loud now, because this particular house is a 3 bedroom in Richardson, Texas. It's a big 3 bedroom. So there's like an open space upstairs that could actually be a fourth bedroom. And I mentioned this because the last episode I talked about putting barn doors in one of the office spaces, like an open office space at the one of my arbitrages in Grand Prairie, and it created a fourth bedroom, a really cool fourth bedroom, and put a bed in there and everything instead of just a little, computer desk like it had, and it had a TV in there. So it's a cool. It made it a fourth bedroom, and instantly got like some good bookings. So it might have been a coincidence, but it doesn't hurt to to upgrade from a 3 bedroom to a 4 bedroom. And so now that I'm thinking out loud, thinking into the camera, is that that Richardson house also has the ability to be a fourth bedroom, and I need to hit up Pablo, my guy, and see if he can do something with that open space that we kind of use as a little chill lounge for now, but it could be a fourth bedroom. Anyways, so that being said, we at the Richardson house, which I brought up, we had some long-term like corporate guests in there for a few months, right? And so they were due to leave on September 19th. Um, today's the 20, what, 4th? Yeah, they were due to leave on September. This is so funny because like it's all in this business. If you think you've seen it all, then you're lying, because you ain't seen it all. And any guru out there tells you they've seen it all and they know it all. They don't know half of what they claim to know. Anyways, so this situation happened, and this is how we've always done our leases with corporate clients, So they'll rent it from, let's just say, July 19th all the way through September 19th, right? And we put it in the lease, that's the dates, July 19th through September 19th. And it's always been assumed, and that's what you get for assuming, the saying with assuming, right? Um, that date, that 19th date, is the day they check out, they move out, right? Otherwise, if they wanted to stay through the 19th into the 20th, then their checkout day would be the 20th. But anyways, so I've never had any issue with somebody um, uh, getting confused on that. And that's, I mean, like I said, you always see something new. So that day, I saw what happened. Oh. So this particular lady, she started off texting me. This is back when, my new handles, my assistant, he handles all of the corporate stuff now. But back a few months back when she moved in, I was still answering, talking to them personally and getting, they were texting me personally, stuff like that. The tenants at these corporate stays. And so she got into the habit of texting me, and I'm not gonna say, hey, don't text me, text the team, text Manu. I'm not, whatever. So, and it wasn't all the time. So this particular time, she said, "Hey, Steve, there's people here that say they're the cleaners and they're cleaning the house. Our checkout date's tomorrow." And so I You know, I immediately freak out a little bit. I'm like, oh, hold on. And I pull up the calendar first, in our hospitable calendar. And I pull it up and it says checkout date today. And it also says that there's a check-in today, or, the 19th. Check out the 19th, check in the 19th. And I'm like, oh crap. She says, and then her text message says, we sent them away. And I was like, oh no, what situation's gonna happen now? Because they're supposed to be gone. They sent our cleaners away. And these particular cleaners are so busy. I mean, they're great cleaners, but they're so busy. If you send them away, they're not gonna get back that day. Probably not gonna get back that day, unless it be real late at night. And she said, she said, don't worry. We're almost moved out anyways, so we'll go ahead and move out. And plus, we had scheduled our own cleaners to come and clean after we left anyways. So it'll be clean for your next guest. Because I told her that we have guests coming in, and I showed her, as of course, took a screenshot of the lease, and like I said, she assumed that she had the house through the 19th, not that the 19th was the checkout day. It was so weird. And I need to, I learn something every time, so I need to be very clear that the checkout date is what's written on the lease, and I'll say it. Checkout date is this date at this particular time, just to make it even more foolproof. So this don't happen again, right? Learn from your mistakes. Wasn't really a mistake, but learn from your assumptions. How's that? Um, so so she I said, okay, cool. She said, we'll be out soon. And this was still in the morning. And I said, well, there's a check-in at 4 p.m. Oh, they'll be done by then. They'll be done way before then. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, and I told my team, I was like, okay, this is what's going on at the Richardson house. Could you have our cleaners go about 3 o'clock and go check and make sure that they cleaned it correctly? And of course, this particular cleaners, like I said, they do a great job, but they're asking them to do things like that is usually they can't. Usually they can't. And so they of course they said, no, we can't get back out there today. We're too busy. We're running around all over Dallas, blah blah blah. And so I was like, oh crap. And well, let's hope that these cleaners of hers do an all right job and the people moving in are you know are cool with it. And so of course they don't. I mean, that it was wishful thinking. It was wishful thinking that cleaners that I've never heard of, I don't even know, that are just some people's random cleaners, is gonna do an Airbnb or short-term, midterm style cleaning, especially if they've been there for a few months. These cleaners are about to throw down. They're about to do a deep cleaning, right? They were going to get there at 10 a.m. and freaking get down and dirty until like almost 4 and do a deep cleaning because they were there for a few months and we're going to pay for that. But I guess she sent maybe her own house cleaner or something, and uh, they didn't do a good job. And so we got a message from the guests that checked in at 4 p.m. and he said, "Hey, I'm not really upset or anything, but I just wanted to let you know that the sheets aren't cleaned. There's dog hair and a lot of stuff. And because these people had a dog, one or two dogs, and they said it's just a little bit dirty, a little messy. I think the sheets and stuff need to be cleaned, and and we're like, oh, apologizing. Oh my God, we're sorry. And we told him exactly what happened, and he seemed, and it was one of those situations where I've been through so many times with so many Karens that are just like, this is unacceptable. We're paying this much for this place, and it's like this. We want a full refund. We're gonna have to stay at a hotel because we can't deal, and a lot of you operators have been out doing this for a while, have had those types of reactions when something isn't perfect or not good. I was just so used to that, and I was expecting that, But this guy was so cool, and we don't give a lot of shout outs to great guests because there's a lot of good guests out there, and I would say like 95% of the guests are pretty good guests, and they are understanding. And then there's some in that 95% of good guests, there's, I guess 10% are great guests, amazing guests. They're super understanding. And then there's the 5% is the Karens. And they'll so you just got to look at it like, it's percentages, and don't let the 5% ruin your day or week or month or whatever. So this guy was super cool, super understanding. We got the said we'll get the cleaners out the next day, blah blah blah. I told my team, I was like, hey, listen, if he asks for any kind of discount, give it to him, give him whatever he's asking for within reason. And they went out. The cleaners went out there the next day. Excuse me, moi. And they cleaned, drink some water, and of course they cleaned it well and all that stuff. And he was happy. He was a happy dude, and he left a good review, and he was good. Like I said, it doesn't always happen that way, but it did. I needed something like that. I really, really needed after all this craziness that's been happening with a lot of the properties, and I needed something a reminder that there are good people out there that are understanding and that ain't gonna go freaking ballistic on you. And yeah, they do exist, and it makes us operators happy that they do exist. This is what we do it for. And on that note, with a lot of things that were going wrong, I I spoke of the house in Grand Prairie where I put the barn doors up at that had, and the reason those came to be was because the what's it called? The ceiling was leaking. I told you all the story on the last episode. The ceiling was leaking in one of the bedrooms. It opened up, leaked everywhere, and I had my handyman, fix that. And he did a great job, of course, and he fixed it and got it all sorted out. But that's why I said on the last episode, while you're there, check out that space I was talking about putting barn doors. And he said, oh, I can do that. I can have it done Thursday. And he knocked it out of the park. Looks great. Like I said, got the good reviews got the bookings rolling in. Great situation. But another situation happened. These like I said, good cleaners are hard to find, and these cleaners that we had used, they did not do a good job. Now the head cleaner and I guess her close people that she works with whenever she cleans, they're awesome. But as they're growing and expanding, as any cleaning company does, they want to grow and expand as any business does. They get a lot of work coming thrown at them. They need to hire help. And the people that they use for that clean did a terrible job. And these guests that were there sent us all these pictures of what the sheets weren't cleaned correctly. There was pet hair. There was what else? Oh, and so it wasn't good. Of course, we offered to go get it clean and all that, and they said, "Well, we don't really want to stay here anymore. We'd like a refund the rest of our days and go somewhere else." And we're fine with that because it was, dirty. They weren't freaking out, going ballistic. They just said, "We just want to go somewhere else." And they said another thing was walking in the master bath, that when they push down on the tiles, that like water seeps through. So there's water seeping through from the tiles, and I'm like, oh my God, is this a plumbing leak? Is this a complicated fix? Am I gonna have to tell the owners to get their people and they're gonna tear up the floors and this house is gonna be out of commission? Just when it started popping off hot, getting these, bookings rolling in, these good bookings rolling in, am I gonna have to shut it down again, refund everybody, not make any money off of this place, and then hopefully the owners don't blame it on me again and take their time to fix it, and I'm just losing money. But and these particular cleaners, I guess they know a guy who's kind of a handyman, and I've used him a couple times on things, and he I don't think I'm gonna use him anymore because he kind of he doesn't figure out the issue a lot of times. And simple things, light bulbs, stuff like that. Okay, yeah, whatever. But any kind of maintenance thing that's above a leaking toilet, maybe even a leaking toilet, he probably couldn't figure out from what I've noticed. But he did not diagnose this one correctly. He just said, "Oh, it must be the tiles. The tiles, something's coming up. Maybe it's a." He just starts throwing a bunch of things at me. Maybe it's a foundation leak or this. And to me, I'm not an expert on houses and home repair, but I know a few things. And I'm like, I know that leaks under the house, they don't tend to come up through the floor because, I mean, yeah, I guess they say water rolls downhill. So they don't usually come up through the floor. And if it was, and I didn't, in just having him do video of the floor, what's going on, I didn't hear any like shh, didn't hear any kind of leak or water or something. He didn't hear nothing either. And so I'm I automatically was thinking, well, maybe those previous guests well, the previous guests did leave the house really messy, and then we're doing a claim on that because they didn't tell us about the ceiling leak either. But anyways, I was like, maybe they flooded the bathroom and didn't tell us, and they dried it up or whatever, but it's still underneath the tiles because the way it looked in the video is pushing down the tiles, seeping up through the cracks. I was like, it reminded me of a situation I've been in before. I said, there's a leak somewhere that's from the top going into those tiles. Like, let's say, for example, I've been through a thing before where it's like a fridge. A fridge is leaking, and then it like it gets in through the tiles or the hard under the hardwood floor or whatever, and you find the leak, and it's not a foundation leak or nothing like that. But he so he just said he didn't know what was going on. And so I sent my guy Pablo. Before I was gonna tell the owners, I'm gonna go diagnose it with my handyman, and he's the one that fixed the ceiling. And so I sent Pablo out. He said, "Yeah, I'll go check it out." And he went out the next day, and he looked. He opened the cabinets underneath the sink in the master bath. Lo and behold, there was a leak in there. And that leak was dripping down and getting under the tiles, just like I was thinking. It was coming from somewhere above, not below. And so he fixed the leak, whatever was leaking down there. And he had his fans and dried everything. Tiles are dry, underneath the cabinets are dry. And I think that one cost me $150 for him to do all that. And he's a great dude. So $150 very reasonable. I was thinking, thousands again, or getting the owners involved and the house being shut down. But luckily, Pablo was able to fix the issue, and we're rolling, and we got another, booking coming in pretty soon. That's a good booking. And so that happened, and it's just another thing, man. It's just if you got a good handyman, I yeah, I don't even want to try to use because I always said, have your experts that cost the most money. You call the freaking plumbing company or whoever, they're gonna charge you an arm and a leg, but they'll get the thing fixed, right? And you'll have some kind of warranty and all that stuff. But your second tier handyman, he's the one that can fix most of those things, and not guaranteed. I mean, maybe a super complicated air conditioning problem or something like that. Maybe not, but he can pretty much fix most of the mid size to low mid to high things, not super high, but whatever. And then you have your low end handyman who does the light bulbs, filters, all that stuff, and then maybe fixes a leaking toilet every now and then, or yeah, things like that. So I would suggest I don't even want to deal where I'm at. I don't want to deal with the third tier anymore, unless it is for a field, like I said, filter or light bulbs. I'm not gonna have a third tier handyman try to diagnose, you know mid to low, mid to high, whatever issues at a house anymore. I'm done with that. So I'm gonna use a great good to great handyman. Anyway, so that being said, I was I was I was where do I want to go with this? So I did the Richardson house and maintenance, finding a good handyman. So I was gonna let's go start with another thing that came up was I know I'm gonna hop around a lot on this show, and that's just how it is. Um, oh, one of the things I'm happy with is let's talk pricing a little bit. because I had mentioned on a previous show I took over a cabin in Broken Bow, and it's beautiful cabin, and summer was like we were at the doorstep of summer, and this client of ours we manage one of her places in Dallas, but she had zero bookings for the summer, and she was freaking out. And so at first, drink water. At first, she asked me if I could help her with some pricing strategy. And I said, okay, yeah, I could do that, and I'll charge a small fee and I'll do some pricing for you. And she said, okay, cool. And so I did that and I started, I mean, she didn't have any pricing strategy. I think she had every night or weekends at 500 a night and weekdays at 250 a night and no discounts, no minimums, no strategy at all. Just like if you want to book it, this is the price for the weekdays, this is the price for weeknights. And and the pictures were um not presented in the best way, like the best ones up front and all that. I mean, there's some basic things. So I got in there and I did some things. I updated the pictures and the descriptions and also the pricing. I did my method. Excuse me. Um, I did all my my method I do in Price Labs because I run everything through Price Labs. And I did rule sets in Airbnb. So which means, I did, for example, there's a million different ways to do it, but you can set a rule set to say, if someone books one night, of course they're going to pay full price for that one night. If they book two nights, they get like a 20% discount. Three nights, they get a 30% discount. Four nights in a row, they get, 40%. And I say 40%. Five nights, they get 50%. So do it all the way out to like seven nights, right? So they're encouraged to book longer and get a higher percentage off their stay. So that I mean, they're tinkering. We're always looking at doing vacations and how much vacation we can afford, and I think everybody does that, right? You go to and you click on, oh well, if we get there Monday through Thursday, it's gonna be this price. Maybe we could afford a Friday, and you hit Friday, and whoa, it went down price went down, like a bigger discount if I book through Friday. Well, let's see Saturday. And boom, and you get another discount if you book it through Monday through Saturday. And so it encourages people to book longer and you have less gaps. And so, anyway, I implemented those basic strategies that I use, well, a little more advanced, and with my price lab strategy. And man, she started getting bookings like crazy. She went from zero bookings to just almost full, and just the small changes I did. And I said, okay, um, I wanna really run your property through our softwares, but I need to be able to take over, and we'll manage for an agreed upon. Since you're a long-term client of ours, we'll give you a good deal to manage it completely for you. You don't have to mess with it no more. And I mean, I had ideas. I wanted to get out there and look at it, and then I even said, "Well, you got this cabin, and you got a little hot tub out there and a little TV area and stuff. It's really cool. It's a one-bedroom cabin, right? Kind of an efficiency." But it's spacious enough. It's enough for you can have the king bed there, and then you can put like a air mattresses down, or probably one air mattress down for the kiddos can sleep there. I was like, that's cool. You could fit, two, three people comfortably, maybe four pushing it if they're little kids. And I said, oh, I raised the pet fee. I think they were charging $25 per pet. And I was like, nah, we're raising that to $100 a pet because people will pay it. And sorry, but people will pay it. And sometimes, it bites us in the butt because we have to pay extra for the cleanings, for the dog hair, whatever. But it's worth it because it generates a lot of revenue. It's a yeah, it's a moneymaker. And one of the things I said, you have this, it's on this plot of land. Why don't you have like a cool teepee out there, or a tent that's set up that looks real cool, and you put like an air mattress in there and you set it up with the the sheets and you put like, some pillows in there and make it look cool, right? I was thinking teepee, that'd be tight, right? Make a teepee and make it like glammed out a little bit. I was like, it costs a few $100. You can do some cool stuff. I'll go out there and do it. And of course, you'll pay me, and I get to use the place for free. An arrangement like that, and she was cool with that. And I was like, there's so much, man, yeah, there's so much meat on the bone here, You could definitely do a lot more and generate a lot more and ask for more and ask for more a higher rate. And so she was cool with it. And so when the next month hit, on the first, we took it over and we've been managing it. The thing is, I was never able to get out there because when we did all of our changes, we took over 100%. We, switched it. I really dove into it, switched it up, and the pricing, and it got everything on point. It just stays 100% booked. I'm raising the prices. I'm doing what I got. I mean, I've been raising the prices, but it's just the reviews roll. It's just like it's like a what is it called? A snowball, a snowball effect. It just the reviews started rolling in, great reviews, and then it started getting a lot of bookings, and then that helps the SEO, and then man, this thing is like 100% booked all the time. I can't get out there, and it's great. My wife, by the way, I mentioned she's pregnant with our first son, we have two girls together. And we're gonna have our first son. That's so cool in 5 weeks. So I can't really go on like I guess I mean Oklahoma's not too far. I can do like a day trip, camp out there probably. But and she's pretty pregnant, so I don't think she could do another trip. But I that was the plan. That what but while we were rehabilitating this place, but like I said, it's booked out all the way through November, and I can't get out there anyways. It's great for her, and there are still things I'd like to do there if I eventually get out there. But that goes to show. I mean, if you how valuable reviews are, how valuable it is to start getting those bookings rolling in, because it does snowball. And and I think I mentioned it on another show. I'll just say it again, might as well, if some different people are listening. But we took over a cool place in Fort Worth that was a 2 bedroom, 2 bath. But it was like the design was off the charts, and we took it over from this girl that was just wanted to get out of arbitrage. So we bought the arbitrage from her, and she had, like I said, her pricing wasn't on point either. So she had all her weekends picked off, and the midweeks was barely getting booked. And but the thing is, she had it out like 3 months like that, right? So we had to honor those bookings. So we said, well, can you keep your account open and then just change the payout to us for those stays? And once the last stay is done, 3 months from now, then we'll switch it to our own account. We'll have our own listing ready to go. And so I went in there, did the same thing, did my pricing, did my rule sets, did all that stuff, and I was able to fill in all the gaps and just make this thing the moneymaker it deserved to be, because it's a badass place. And so here's the crazy part. It had all these 5-star, glowing. I was like, I was sad. I was like, man, it's got like over 55-star reviews. This place is just, I mean, people love this place. It's always booked now, fully booked. And I'm gonna have to start from brand new, like a new listing. Oh, that hurts. And the crazy thing is, and it happened. I didn't expect it to happen like this, but as soon as I hit the start button, on the new listing after hers finally, her last booking stayed and they checked out. Um, they we started our new listing that same day, when we ended her listing, which like I said, the bookings just fell off a cliff, man. They just fell off a freaking cliff, and it was I couldn't. I was like, "What's going on?" This thing was so popular. It's the same, professional pictures. We put every listing, the booking, everything. The listing was exactly the same. It's a freaking clone. All the same pictures, all the same descriptions, everything. And it just fell off a cliff. I was trying all kinds of different stuff. I was changing the descriptions. You couldn't freaking buy a booking. It was crazy. And finally, I just had to start lowering the prices to like ludicrous levels for this two bedroom, two bath, beautiful freaking apartment. Drinking some water because I had to get something. I had to get some bookings rolling in. And finally, we started getting some bookings just because the price point was so low. And of course, we made sure they were good guests. They had good reviews. We weren't letting some, bad people in there. And slowly but surely we started getting more and more bookings and then getting the good reviews. And after now finally it's starting to like really pick up a lot again. But man, those reviews and 5-star reviews, those and how many bookings you have and stuff like that is so important, but it's hard to start off sometimes, man. But yeah, that was just an example of how important that it is to get those. And excuse me, so I talked about the cabin. Um, I was gonna talk about okay. So we have in Dallas, I said I was getting rid of a lot of my units that are in Lower Greenville and that are in that part of town. Youngsters love it because it's close to Dallas and all that, and it's a party part of town, but it's a little bit grungy over there, and it's not for older demographic, I would say. But anyways, we're getting out of there because we just yeah we've been moving towards houses and higher end condos and stuff like that, higher end apartments, and but I saw we have two we rent out two condos at this complex over there in another part of Dallas, like close to the airport over there, the Love Fields. And we do corporate at those places and they do really well. I mean, they stay booked. They stay booked as corporate. I mean, we had one weird month. It was August. August was a weird month. I mean, he got some bookings, but it didn't get completely full. But it's been like completely full ever since we had it. Pretty much, because I guess there's a big need for two bedroom, two bath, nice apartments in Dallas for corporate, right? A lot of people in Dallas live in condos. It's a condo and apartment town, man. It's there's houses, but the rich people stay in houses, I guess, but most people have condos and apartments. And and so there's a big need for people for the two bedroom, two bath for corporate when they're, whatever, their condo's getting worked on or their small house is getting worked on or whatever it is. And like I said, that two bedroom we have there stayed booked. The one bedroom we had there stayed booked. It's just a great complex and people love that area. Excuse me. And so I saw two condos. Here's the thing. Yeah, I saw another one bedroom pop up for rent for there. And I was like, well, I already know what my two do there. And then I saw another two bedroom, two bath pop up for rent there. And I was like, I'm gonna submit, like I said, how I always do it when I do the arbitrage game, I submit the application first. And my Zillow has a picture of me holding my little baby, my little baby Lucy, which is she's 7 now. But and so it's just me holding my when I was younger, and I have all this gray. And it's like it's a cute little picture, and people open up my my credit, and it's good credit. The thing is that, not to brag, but it's over 700. Not that that's a huge accomplishment, but I use my credit. It would be 800 if 800 is for people that have like one car, one car note and they pay it every month, and one credit card and they pay it every month, and they're perfect, and that's fine, 800. But they're not using the credit like I am. I'm getting these, I'm wheeling and dealing, getting these loans, getting these credit cards, doing this, doing that. And so when you use your credit, it takes some dings sometimes. But anyways, it's still pretty good. And so they open it up. Oh, 700, great credit score, or whatever it says on the application. And but then they then they'll dig down a little and say, "Oh well, this guy has 8 mortgages. This is interesting. Why does he want to rent my place?" I've had people ask that before, right? And of course I tell them. What's then that starts a conversation. The good credit is my foot in the door, and then I start a conversation. Listen, this is what I do. I do corporate rentals, and we house insurance claims, traveling professionals, travel nurses, stuff like that. I do my spiel, and and most of them are curious. Some of them are like, "Oh, that sounds great," and a lot of them are like, maybe that I don't think we can do that here." Blah blah blah. So I would say my success rate is, man, of all of the applications I've sent out, I, hmm, I'd probably say my success rate is, man, 5 to 10%, in that range, around 5 to 10%. And which that's not bad. I mean, it's not, it sounds like not a lot. Like 95%, failure rate doesn't sound good, but it's not a failure rate because you keep trying and trying and trying. All you need is one to pick up one good arbitrage in 1 month, and that could generate you another $1,000 a month, right? I mean, if you do it right, and or more, and a lot of times it's more. So I mean, you're adding another $1,000 of income every month. That's pretty damn good. If so it's not a failure rate. It's just the success rate is smaller to get people to say yes to arbitrages. But anyways, all that being said, I reached out to both of these units. And so that the two bedroom, two bath, the guy wants to meet up with me. I'm gonna meet up with him tomorrow. I'm gonna go after work and I have to pick up my daughter, drop her off at home and with mama and Lucy, and then I'm gonna head out to Dallas to go check out that potential arbitrage. And also so that sounded like a good situation and everything. And the one bedroom, I reached out to the one bedroom as well, because the one thing what I reached out to, I was like, I asked information because it didn't let me. It had it for rent, right, at a certain price, which is seemed like a really good price, and but and sometimes in Zillow it'll say, apply now, or it'll say request to apply, and so you can't send in an I can't send in my Zillow application. And I mentioned this before on the show. The cool thing about Zillow is you'll pay like $30 for an application, right? But you can use that same application as many times as you want for 30 days. You can submit as many applications as you want through Zillow for 30 days. So it's like, I mean, for someone like me, that's a lot of applications. For some, like a normal person, then they might, do two, three. This world is not designed for arbitragers. It's designed for normal people that, they're looking at a place, they're going to put in two or three applications or four maybe in a month until they find one, and then they're done. But for me, I'll put in 100 applications if they're going to give me unlimited applications. And so I don't always do that, but I find that after I filter out the ones that I think that are be good and not waste my time, I'll send it to them. Um, so I couldn't send the application to this particular one bedroom because it said request to apply. But so what you do, you send in, hey, this is, this place is for me or whatever, or you put in the different parameters. When do you want to move in? What's your income? What's your credit score? Blah blah blah, and then they'll get back to you. A lot of times they don't though. But mhm. Sorry, drinking some water. A lot of times they don't get back to you, but sometimes they do. And this guy got back to me because, and one thing I asked him, I sent in that request for application, and I asked him, hey, I see that in the description you wrote rent to own is an option. I was like, because he called me because I sent in that thing, and then he called me and he's asking some information about me, and I was like, oh yeah, I was interested in the place and possibly renting it, but I was really interested in the part where you said rent to own. And he said, "Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. So yeah, we could do something like that. Well, what did you have in mind?" So he's asking me, what and I'm like, well, how does it work? I mean, how does it work with you guys for rent to own? We're open to creative financing, rent to own. What kind of deal were you thinking? I was like, okay, you want me to come up with something? I'll come up with something, and I'll send it to your email, and I'll make like a proposition if you want, a proposal. And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll text you my email and just send me your proposal." And he would just he it sounded like I don't think he's done this before. And I was like, okay, well, I was like, well, just talking out loud, how about like a deal? When I hear creative financing, I'm like thinking owner financing. And so this is how much you want to charge in rent of, for rent. I said, would you, if you do owner financing with like a balloon payment or whatever, I was like, a lot of them, I'm just saying, a lot of them is like, 5-year balloon. You kind of owner finance for 5 years, and then at the 5-year point, you either you finance out of that, you finance the rest of that balloon payment coming due. So those 5 years you paid part towards principal, and part towards interest, whatever interest rate you agree upon. And so let's just say 5%. So the owner made 5% interest on that money, on that money, whatever. 5% interest. He's kind of like the bank for those 5 years, and then after 5 years, he wants you to finance out and pay the remainder, the lump sum, and or just pay him in cash, however you want to do it. But he wants to. Most of the owner finance deals that I've seen, they want to be out within 3 to 5 years, right? They'll let you do it for 3 years, 5 years. The cool thing about owner finance, if you're trying to sell something that way, and well, I'll say cool thing because I know some unscrupulous people out there who will do owner finance deals, and they'll charge a big down payment. So their target is people with bad credit, people they know that's going to mess up on paying, the monthly. And so they'll say, okay, give me $5,000 down, and then owner finance for 3 years, and then after those 3 years, um, if you made all your payments on time and everything, then you can finance into this house, and we'll help you. They'll even say, we'll help you finance, which means they just have some connections with some brokers, I guess. And so, but they know from the history of these people, they got bad credit that they can't pay their stuff on time. So what they do in that 3-year span, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, whatever it is, they'll be late on the mortgage payment, and then they'll foreclose on them, and they'll keep that, 5,000, 10,000, sometimes $20,000 down payment, that those people were gonna apply towards the principal balance on the loan. So it's kind of shady, um, to do that. It's very shady to do that, to go, it's what's it called? Predatory lending. Because they know these people aren't going to pay. And so they're going to keep all that cash that they gave them up front. And a lot of times they're not even going to make it through that year because they're going to start missing some, be late on a month or whatever, and they're going to get evicted, and boom. And so, yeah, but that's a whole nother podcast. Anyways, so this guy, he really, really, so here's the thing. When you ask me to send you something, I'll send you something. And it's negotiations, right? So you're gonna send something that's favorable for you. And I sent him a deal. Like I said, okay, well, we'll do 5 years, owner finance at, I made it kind of sweet, 5% interest. I did say 5% interest. And then the balloon payment. I didn't mention nothing about a down payment. I said balloon payment of whatever the remainder was. So I paid down principal for those first 5 years. But on top of that, I paid of course, the interest rate, which is 5%. And then I paid the HOA, taxes, insurance. I paid all that. And it's like I'm buying the house, and he's the bank. And so after 5 years, what I pay off the balloon payment, which means I'll finance out, or if I don't finance out, if I say I'm not going to buy the house, then he just gets the house back. The deed goes to me when I'm starting the owner finance thing, and then it just goes back to the deed goes back to him. The deed or title. I always get those two confused. Anyways, that paper, that proof of ownership, it goes back to him after that 5 years if I haven't um, found financing to buy it, or found a bunch of cash to go buy it in cash. Um, and so I sent him the deal, and he said, well, the guy, he really doesn't want to lease it for that long. So we talked about 2 years, maybe 2 years leasing. I said, okay, I'll draw something up for a 2 year then. But with the 2 years, so I drew another thing up, but I knocked the percentage down to 4% interest rate for 2 years, and then I'll finance out after 2 years. So I won't be out a buttload of money. The the mortgage will still be pretty cheap. The way it's set up, like I said, with the 4% interest and everything. And also, um, after that 2 years point, I said, I put in the thing, unless we renegotiate another owner finance deal, or I walk away and you keep the place. So that was, I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just, but I love getting in the reps and practicing. Someone said, let's do a creative finance. And this particular condo I've been following for a while. This condo, it's been on, it's been on Zillow for a long time, and they haven't got any bites, and they lowered the price. But I know what these condos can do as corporate housing, and so it's to me, it's not a big risk. Even if I just did the owner finance or did sell, what is it? He calls it rent to own for 2 years, I'm still renting it at a low enough price where I know I'm going to profit. And in in those 2 years, then I'll be more, I just don't want to spend the money right now. I want to, why spend it now when it's going to go up in value anyways in 2 years, and I'm still locked in at that price. So I'm able to pay down principal now and not be out any down payment right now. So 2 years down the road, of course, like I said, hopefully my finances keep improving every month. Like I'm picking up more arbitrages, getting more income streams, and yeah, I'll go ahead and okay, I'll buy it from you. And it's a condo and it's locked in at a low enough price, so it's not going to be a huge down payment anyways. And we'll go from there. So that's a long story about doing some creative financing. And I ain't a guru. I ain't a freaking what's his name? I love the guy. I love watching his stuff, but I mean, I've been off Instagram and Facebook for a long time now, and I love it. I'm way happier now. I've been off of caffeine too, and I rarely drink anymore. Maybe on a one day out of the weekend or something. Um, I'm turning into a boring old man now, I guess. But Pace Morby, that's his name. So yeah, I'm not a guru like Pace, but I want to get in here and try and get my reps. And then I'll talk to a lawyer that I know and I'll have them draw it up. Okay, this is what we want to do. These are the terms. Can you draw me something up? We'll both sign it and then we'll, go to the title company, switch over the title, and then go from there. To me, it's not a big risk. I'm kind of people, my friends see me as a risk taker because what I'm doing, real estate and then short-term rentals and stuff like that, but not I don't see myself as a big risk taker because I always see that I feel like I'm conservative. I feel like I always structure things where I ain't gonna lose money, and most of the time I'm gonna make money or break even. But yeah, losing money is not a part of my a part of my plan. Um, my buddy in Trophy Club, Jimmy, my good college buddy who gave me like he just always, his renters of 5 years moved out. I think I told part of the story, but he gave me a chance with his Trophy Club house, and I keep talking about it. 'Cause I think it's pretty cool, and I'm doing it for cheap for him. I'm not charging him an arm and a leg to manage it for him. But like we got the vice president of Dr. Pepper staying there, paying the freaking a lot of money to stay there, and he it's like after he moves out, his calendar is like freaking rocking, dude. And he just got a 2 day booking for like what was it? Yeah, 1,400 something for a 2 night booking, like in October. And he is just his place is just kicking butt, man. And I'm so happy that yeah, I'm happy he gave me a chance because he was charging like super low rent, man. He was charging like $2,000 a month for that place over there. And Trophy Club's a nice place. It's a nice area. He was charging like $2,000 rent. I think I was charging more rent at one of my ghetto houses. Not ghetto, but not in the best area, my first house. But I said, dude, he said, well, how much do you think I can make on this doing corporate? And I said, Well, I'll give you some examples of mine. They're not as nice as yours in a nice area like that. I'm doing like, sometimes, around 6,000 a month. What? So right off the bat, I got him like this, like I said, the VP for Dr. Pepper had to stay there while his house is getting worked on. And it is like $6,500 a month, you know. So he's he's liking it. And excuse me. So that was pretty cool. Um Yeah, so I talked about that. Another Dallas arbitrage seller financing with Balloon. Micah's gonna come back on the podcast. Well, I'm gonna record it this Thursday coming up. So this podcast I'm recording Tuesday. It's gonna drop tomorrow, Wednesday, which now will be today. Hey, that's today. So that one's gonna drop. And then Micah's gonna record, hop on because Micah's it's always have so much fun when we get on a podcast together. I'm looking forward to it. So he's coming back and just probably just a one-off, but it's always a great time. I'm gonna get back to doing interviews because I haven't done interviews for a while, but I'm gonna be really, really particular who I bring on. I don't want to bring on no boring ass people. Um, And I don't want to bring on people doing their freaking sales pitches, man. I wanted people to come on here and give us some good stuff, give y'all some good advice, and no freaking pressure sells and stupid shit. I want to interview people I want to learn from, and I know you want to learn from too. But I still that's why I took a break from doing these interviews for a bit, and I've been doing my own because I was like, man, I always got so much to say. But I hit record and I interview somebody, and then my hold on, my doggy's at the door. But yeah, yeah, let my doggy in. So. Yeah, so like I said, I always have so much to say and I don't get a chance to do it because I hit record and I'm interviewing some cool people, and they have cool stories, so I don't get to talk about what's going on in my STR MTR journey. And but how I want to do it, and I listen to this one podcast sometimes called WTF and What the Fuck podcast. And it's a great podcast. Like comedian dude, and he's all weird and stuff, but he's cool. Um, but he always does his intro. He talks for like 15, 20 minutes about what's going on in his life, and all the craziness. And then he transitions to the guest. So I think I want to do something like that. Probably do, right off the bat, I'm probably thinking I'll do 30 minutes me and then 30 minutes the guest coming on and sharing what they got to share. I might adjust those a little bit and see what works best. But I still want to tell y'all my story and what's going on, and that y'all hopefully can learn from it, and it helps y'all's journey too. But I do want to start interviewing guests also and learning from them because I'm always trying to learn new things too. Every day I'm learning something new, and it's great. It's great. I love talking shop with people I choose. Not people I hear people hit me up all the time, hit us up on Live Let Thrive, say, hey, this guy would be a great guest. This guy would be great. He talks about this and business and blah blah blah. It sounds like a freaking infomercial. Ain't nobody want to hear an infomercial. Um, so yeah, I think that's a good place to cut it off. Excuse me. I Oh, one more thing, and I want to talk in depth with this particular thing when Micah hops on Thursday. It's I've noticed it a few times already. It'll say when I check on my email because I get the email for the Airbnb stuff. I don't look at all the messages anymore. Like I said, I'm a business owner. I'm not working in my business. Whatever, blah blah blah, all that stuff. I still look at it. And what I'm seeing is like a nice booking come along. I hit the email, open it up, and it'll say, "Hey, it's Airbnb." It says, Linda book booked this business trip for Todd, and it shows her picture. She's the one booking the our place, right? And then it shows his picture below, and this is Todd, and this is all his information, blah blah blah, 5-star reviews. And I'm like, whoa, that's interesting because right away, I'm thinking the Airbnb is always about, it was against the rules. Third party bookings were against the rules. You can't do that. And it's helped us out before because like if a guest does something and we do a claim and we say, hey, by the way, this guest, we don't know who this guest is. They didn't book the place. Someone else booked it for them, and they don't have a leg to stand on because third party bookings were always illegal on Airbnbs. But now they're noticing how much money is being made in the corporate housing world, and they're like, we need to start making Airbnbs. Like, we need to start making these connections. We know that Airbnb hosts out there are double dipping. We noticed their calendar is all of a sudden blocked for 3 months. There's probably a corporate booking going on. We want to make that money, so we're going to start giving good deals to these people that are doing the corporate bookings and let them book third party for their employees or their clients, whatever. And so that's what's happening. Airbnb's dipping into the corporate housing world, man. Watch out, Furnish Finder. Uh, and others. But that was something cool. I want to dig deep into that one with Micah because he's the corporate housing guru. He's taught me so much. And I mean, I've taught him some things too, but we all share information. So yeah, that's gonna be a great episode. Thank y'all so much for listening. Like I said, if y'all want to get into arbitrage game, hit up my girl, my friend, my girl, my friend, Rachel at Low Casa, LO-CASA, lowcasa.com, and then you could check out all these arbitrages for free, and then find one you like, and then she'll give you a good deal on it. Furnished, unfurnished, anywhere in the country, low casa. And then if y'all want us to manage it, we'll manage it for a very low rate because you're coming through Rachel's website. So my good friend Rachel, she's been on the show before. Rachel Gaines, let's see, not Rachel Gainsbourg. Rachel Gainsbourg has been on our show before, but my friend Rachel, it just her last name slipped my mind. Wagner. Rachel Wagner or Wagner, like the composer. She was on our show before. Low Casa is freaking awesome. Not Vacasa, they suck. But I like Vacasa because they keep funneling people to us because they're so bad at management that we get their clients on the rebound. So thank you, Vacasa. So lowcasa.com, LO-Casa, CASA. And of course, hit them up, find your perfect arbitrage. There's some really cool ones on there that I would like to pick up. But I'm gonna let y'all get them because y'all are awesome. Argest Rentals, that's my company. If you need management, ARGEST Rentals, RENTALS.com, argestrentals.com, and talk to me. And from that site, you can find me and we can talk, we can chat, you can talk with Stevie Stacks. So thank you so much. It's getting late. It's time to go to bed, and I wish you all the luck on your short-term, mid-term, long-term rental journey. Have any questions, email me directly at liveletthrive.com. Thank y'all so much. Take care. See y'all later.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.